Hey guys, good day. Today I got Nathan with me. We're going to be discussing local SEO. If you're new to the channel, make sure to like and subscribe and drop your questions regarding anything when it comes to local SEO or SEO questions in general. So if you could just tell everybody a little bit about yourself, Nathan, and how long you've been in the game of SEO and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, I've been in it a long time. I try not to think about how long it's been. But yeah, I mean, I started in 2011. So is when I first got started. And I was just at that time in college, and I was trying to grow a little baseball pitching blog. And I was like, man, this is really hard. And I thought, I thought for sure when I started my blog, I was going to be a millionaire like overnight. But I come to find out, what happens, you don't get any traffic, you're creating content. You're like, I thought I was going to be a millionaire. And so what ended up happening was I went to Google, started, trying to figure out how to actually drive traffic. I discovered SEO, and, the rest is history, because it was actually, kind of the funny thing about that story is really my goal was just to make a little bit of money online. So, I would like my huge goal was to make $3,000 a month online. I was like, if I can get there, I'll be good to go for life. Right. And so, but what actually ended up happening was kind of strange, because although I did start making money from SEO, it was actually the discovery of SEO that really got me super hooked. And so I was just creating website after website just to get better at SEO, because I just loved it so much. And obviously, since I've been doing it since 2011, it's pretty clear I like it a lot. Right. I'm still, through all these cycles we've been through, I'm still here. So, I love it. So
I remember whenever I first got started in online, it's going to tell my age, is good old AOL dial-up. When you get little discs, little floppies, and you could start a website. And I remember building my first little website and stuff, but that was a long time ago. So
yeah, that's way before me too. Yeah, because I was even I was still playing online games at that point, probably. So I hadn't had quite transitioned like, oh, you can actually make money online. So I was like, I think my first blog was on Blogger. That's how I kind of got started. So I got started on Blogger and then kind of transitioned into WordPress and so on and so forth.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I got started with that and building just little AOL website and stuff. Just, it was a religious website or a blog or something like that. And then it just came. Then I remember Dreamweaver and then CSS. Then I actually started with Magento and Joomla before I ever got into WordPress.
Yeah.
So yeah, when WordPress came around, it's like, oh, this is a walk through the park, compared to coding and everything else. So
yeah, it's only gotten a lot easier now. So
yeah. What do you think about, for example, with the Google AI and how has it changed for you think over the past years, especially in this past few years?
Sure. Well, I mean, it's changed pretty dramatically. There's no denying that. So when ChatGPT launched, this is November 2022, and I put out a video, I think it's maybe a week or two after it came out. And I put it out on it's still on my YouTube channel. You can go and watch it. And I put it out and I told people, I'm like, listen, this is a problem. This is a real problem. And if you ignore this, you're going to be in trouble. And to this day, I still see people that still are kind of ignoring this wave. And there's overwhelming data that's really dangerous. And one of the things is you just look at Google's behavior over time, right? Over time, Google they've showed us their cards over time, right? They don't want users to go to websites. That is very, very clear. They started with featured snippets. They started with the SERP features. They continue to extract as many clicks as they can to keep users contained on Google. That's been their objective all along. So when ChatGPT kind of put them on their heels, that's when they started, pushing out AI overviews and then pushing out AI mode. And I think we're getting to a point where AI mode is going to be kind of the default experience probably pretty soon. But I know you're specializing in local here, and I think of all of the things that are being disrupted, I think local is, I don't want to say this word, but relatively safe in some ways, just because of the one product, which is Google Local Pack, which I don't know if Google's going to get rid of that per se. It's kind of the
I thought for the longest time, we're pretty much safe. It's affecting blogs and e-commerce,
Yeah.
stuff like that. It's not really affecting us, and now I'm starting to see it more and more. And then who was it? I was talking to Ben Fisher earlier this week, and he was like, from what he thinks is probably about the fourth quarter, he says, or at least by next year, he said the AI default will be the default search. And there won't be a regular Google search. It will be straight AI search.
I mean, it's a pretty good prediction.
Really, really scary. And it's like, and I even did a video the other day. I was talking about zero-click search because I didn't even want to talk about it, but it's like, they're getting to the point where it's like you could go and say, who's the best roofer in this city? And it will give you their phone number, their reviews, what people say about it, but they're not giving the website link. They're trying to keep users on their platform without ever going to anyone else's website. So
yeah, well, and although it is kind of scary as far as like clearly they're pushing a lot of products back behind the surface now, those products aren't actually going anywhere. They're just fueling the AI. They're the grounding for the AI. So like if you want the AI to recommend you as a plumber, you still have to do well in the local pack. Like you can't, like that's the only way, because that's how Google determines who should actually show up in the AI. So all of these kind of, but I guess the one way I've been trying to think about it is like if you go into Google and search right now, just like traditional search, and there's a little tab called web. If you click on web, you'll see the, traditional search, like all the blue links, no search features, like just your standard. One way that I've been thinking about this is like, that's not going anywhere. It's going to stay there, but it's basically behind the surface and no users are ever going to get to it. And it's purely designed for the AI and the agents to go get information, bring it back to, for grounding. And then the AI can actually answer questions more accurately instead of just pulling from the large language model. So all of the work that we're doing still will have influence, but it's really thinking about it totally differently. Like we're not doing it like because we want to get a ton of traffic per se. We're doing it because we want to influence the AI answers the best that we can. At least that's the way my mind is thinking about it. So
yeah, most of it's like, I remember it's like back in the good old days, you just want to spam the search engine to death with backlinks or whatever. And you could get ranked. You didn't have to answer all these questions. You didn't have to think about, well, what is someone looking for when they're looking for a junk removal or a roofer in a specific city. And it's like people also ask questions that didn't even really exist. I'm like, you can literally take a lot of that and make content out of it. But yeah, so, as far as local and with AI and everything, I'm pretty sure you basically answered. Do you think if you were to go into a competitive market, competitive city, what would you spend your time on if you were in local? Would it be Google Business Profile, a website, backlinks, reviews, branded searches? What do you think is actually affecting AI overviews the most, or even just local in general?
Well, hands down, Google Business Profile and driving performance in a local pack. I mean, we have at Rankability, we look at thousands and thousands of queries. So I got kind of like an inside look into what tends to surface as far as what's being cited and what influences the answers a lot. And so if you look at Google AI Mode, AI Overviews, and Gemini, which is again the core Google AI products, for any local queries, the Google Business Profiles get pulled a lot as the core sources of retrieval. And so Google's basically citing itself. So like if you want any visibility, you have to be present in Google's products, right? And so there's one kind of nuance here though, because Google's not the only player in town anymore. I mean, ChatGPT is last time they reported, it was like 500 million weekly active users. So, and it's probably way more than that now. So it's probably growing, at such a rapid rate. But the way I'm thinking about this is purely for local, by the way, like purely my distribution for local. I think 90% of your effort should still be on Google specifically. So maximizing your performance in the local pack, because Google still is the dominant player for local queries specifically. And ranking the local pack is pretty straightforward. Like you need to have an address in the city. You need to drive as many reviews as humanly possible, at least try to narrow the gap between you and the top competitors in that city. And then of course, if you want to get tricky, you can of course have a keyword rich business name, but that's a little bit trickier now because the AI sometimes struggles with keyword rich business names to identify the actual entity out of there. So sometimes it's better to have kind of a more identifiable entity in that way. But it is a tricky way to kind of influence a local pack. But aside from that, like 90% of your effort going into that, and then there's a bunch of other local variables, obviously your website and stuff like that, but like that's the biggest one. But the reason I'm bringing that up is because we've actually found that there are businesses that are doing incredibly well in the local pack, okay, like killing it in Google's local pack, but they actually don't do well in ChatGPT. They don't necessarily do well in Grok. They don't necessarily do well in Claude even. And that's because a lot of these other AI platforms, they don't necessarily use Google's local pack, right? And so like ChatGPT, when we pull citations from ChatGPT, 9 times out of 10, it's these third-party directories that it's pulling from. It's going to be, Angie and Thumbtack and Avo and all these different third-party directories. So I think in a certain percentage of your budget has to go towards at least the 3 to 5 most important directories that are not Google. And it used to be, you probably did this, but I used to do this as well, where like I'd start a local campaign and we'd just go crazy building citations, right? Like, 300 citations, 500 citations. Like it was just like a numbers game, right? You just build as many as you could.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's,
and it don't work really anymore.
No. And I don't think it's a useful, it's not good for your time investment or your financial investment. I think it's much better just take, like I said, 3 to 5 of the best ones and really like actually do SEO on those profiles. Like treat it that way and really treat it like, okay, this is a property, an owned property that we have. We got to drive reviews to it. We got to optimize it. Like we got to try to rank this property because we see clearly the site, the AI platforms are citing it. Right. So that's just my
like more Reddit and Quora, and like you realize that like ChatGPT pulls out of all of them. I forget, there was a graphic I seen. ChatGPT's pulling primarily from Reddit. A lot of its queries and stuff, but most people don't even use Reddit and stuff like that. But a lot of the directories that you're mentioning, it's like, for example, you could actually post blogs on them. You can update videos, you can update photos, and most people, they just create a citation or, get listed on a directory and then they never, ever, ever touch it. And it's like, and Google wants to see constant updates on them.
Yeah, especially with ChatGPT, because even when you look at, like, if you were to run, who's the best plumber in Chesterfield, Missouri, and you run that across ChatGPT or any of these platforms and just extract the citations, you'll see 9 times out of 10, it's like, it's the search results from Avo that it's pulling from. So like, if you're not appearing in the search results in Avo specifically, you're not going to get retrieved into the AI. So even just like, if you just go and create a profile and then you move on with your life, it's not going to do anything. Like you have to actively work on that profile to get it to perform actually in the search engine on that platform. It's kind of crazy now, like with so many different jobs to do, but
I mean, that's what I tell people is like, they think they can do SEO and they set it up one time and they leave it alone, or they just, SEO's the end all be all. It's like, you actually have to run a business. You actually have to maintain these properties. You can't just set them up and just forget about it.
I wish. That'd be nice.
That'd be lovely. The good old days, you could spam Google to death and get ranked, but it just don't work that way anymore. Mentioning AI, what AI tools do you use in rankability, or in your workflow or your SOPs? Are there any specific ones that you use a lot or more than others?
Well, believe it or not, my biggest driver is actually Replit, which might be kind of a surprise. But so if you're not familiar with Replit, it's basically a competitor to Lovable. But it's kind of like an AI. You can build your website on Replit. And so I've been using Replit every single day for over a year. And I've invested a small fortune in using this tool. And it is truly, once you get it dialed in, it is so unbelievable. Like it's starting to become more popular now to like agentic websites. Like that's becoming more popular now. People are talking about it. There's new startups popping up every day that do that. But I've already been in the weeds doing that for a long time. And I've already had an agentic website for probably 6 to 8 months. And I can tell you, it is truly the greatest thing on earth. I mean, like with going back to like we were talking earlier, like Dreamweaver and like these websites we used to build, And even WordPress, right? Like when you compare WordPress to an agentic website, WordPress looks like, using a flip phone, right? It's just so inferior to an agentic website. Because the thing is, like, I can't remember the last time I've gone into a website and had to fix a broken link or fix redirects or even add internal links. I don't manually do that at all. I just go to the agent. I say, here's what I need you to do. Go and do it. Boom, it's done. And if it doesn't do a good job, then I just build a skill within Replit to make sure that it does a good job. So there's a training training process in this.
What's the learning curve you think is like? Generally, let's say a business owner or an agency owner goes in there and wants to start using Replit. How long is it generally going to take?
That is a great question. Well, I can just give you based on the experience of people that I've given this recommendation to. So like most people, my recommendation to them is like, don't watch YouTube videos. Like don't try to learn Replit, just use Replit. That's the best way to, like, you just got to go in, you got to get your hands dirty.
I hate going on YouTube and trying to learn things that way. I'd rather I'm gonna just give it to me and dive in and then I'll figure it out.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, what's really important is, Lovable and Replit both claim that they build SEO like driven websites, but they don't. They're JavaScript by nature. So what you have to do, there's kind of a workaround for this. It took me a while to figure this out, but there's the Astro framework, which is like the best framework, HTML, perfect for SEO, like does the job, which is very important because these AI platforms hate JavaScript. They despise it. They hate it. If you're a JavaScript driven website, you might as well not even try. And so HTML matters a lot. And so using Astro, so what you have to do is kind of a workaround. So basically what I've done, I created a skill in Claude. Okay. So I create a skill in Claude to create an Astro driven website, and I'll just create like a one pager. Basically I'll have Claude build that out. And then it will build out basically the files, and I'll upload that to Replit. So then from there, I can work on that site on Replit. And I know for sure that it's Astro, it's HTML, it's good to go. So it's kind of a workaround at this point, because, unfortunately Replit hasn't quite figured this out. But yeah, so that's like, going back to my AI tools, that's probably my number one that I use the most. Obviously, I use Rankability as well because I use the API from Rankability and I put that into Replit, so I can actually generate content directly inside of Replit by pulling directly from Rankability. So there's a lot of little connections there. And then there's like some other non-SEO tools that I use, like for my microphone, WhisperFlow, like the greatest tool on earth, basically. I just love WhisperFlow. It's like the best. And I'm not even affiliated with it. I'm just saying, like, it literally is like, I've almost become disabled at typing at this point. Like when I start to type, I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's like hard to do because I just do everything voice now. Everything is voice. So
we have our BYD cards, like you can tell it to do whatever pretty much, and it does it. It's like, my mentor, he goes with me and he's like, it's insane what cars are doing nowadays and stuff. It's like half the stuff we watch movies anymore, like they're showing this and like it's sci-fi, and it's like guarantee you in about 10 to 20 years this shit's gonna be real. I couldn't believe it before. It's like even thinking about I remember, I forget what was it called, but it was a sci-fi movie where it's nobody's in the car driving, it's automatically driving, and you just think that's not going to ever happen, and it actually happens.
Oh yeah,
stuff like that. So it can be scary, but some things I think are scary for, like, if you're an SEO, but other things it's like the wearables with Google and stuff. It's like you can tell it, say, hey, I'm looking for a pizza restaurant where I'm at right now. Can you give me the best? It's like, and it will start spitting out everything right in front of you. And, and then give you directions to it. So that's pretty cool. How long have you had your agency? Because I know you got started in SEO a long time ago and stuff, but how long have you actually ran an agency?
Well, I got my first client. This was I think it's maybe 2012, 2013. I got my first client, and it was $100 a month was my first client. Okay. And I was working like 20 hours a week on it. So it was truly unbelievable. So I got a little bit
do that sort of thing. Everybody looks at big agencies. They're like, oh, you probably, you've been once you started, you were making money from ground up, and some
Oh,
say
wow.
no.
Yeah.
You realize how many free shit I had to give away, and then sometimes I was doing social media management, website edits, and SEO, and they were paying you like $300 a month, and they think they're doing you a favor. And it's
Yeah.
like
Oh, yeah.
working like a dog most of the time. So
Yeah. Yeah. It was like, so, and it wasn't even like, even when I was doing that, I still took me a while to start increasing pricing. So eventually I was like, all right, I'm going to get really brave now. I'm going to do $250 a month. And then I did that for a long time. And then I was like, all right, here I go. I'm going to go for $500 a month. Right. And then like, I remember the first time, this is probably 2015, I decided, I was so booked with clients because I was taking on these tiny little clients, it just kills you.
yeah.
So I was like, all right, I got to do something different. So I sent a proposal in for $2,500 a month. And then it was to like this big data center company. And he's like, yeah, it looks good. And I'm like, are you serious? And I like went back home like, I'm rich. Like this is it was so crazy that someone actually accepted. I was like, wow. And it changed my whole frame, right? When someone actually says yes to a certain number, it changes your whole dynamic. Like you could never go back, right? You never go back to the cheaper stuff because your frame has changed. And then of course, I've been doing client work since then. But the reality is now, like I have a partner and does all the fulfillment. So I don't even touch fulfillment anymore. I'm really just kind of like, let's call it the marketing, the acquisition ahead of this. So, and almost all like 99.9% of my effort is on rankability these days. So, but I just, I have a lot of experience. And plus I talk to agencies every day, right? So, cause agencies are our core,
Yeah, ours
market.
used to be mainly white. We mainly used to do white label SEO, and then I switched and went straight to business. Basically straight to business because I got sick and tired of dealing with the agency.
That's how I started too. Yeah, that's how I started too. Yeah, like I got my first.
Yeah.
I got to like, I think I got to like $18,000 a month, basically all through white label SEO. And like agencies would hire me through Craigslist and they would send me all their campaigns. And it was brutal, man. I mean, brutal, because it's like you're getting these tiny little retainers.
We had almost, my highest, I had almost 80 staff. And then we had tons of clients, but it was like, it's so draining. I remember Russell Brunson saying something about it before. He's like, you ever wake up, you created this quote unquote successful business, but you don't even want to get out of bed to deal with it. And that's the way it was. So, and you're talking about raising prices and stuff. We used to do the same thing. I remember $250, and then I raised it to it's about the same price and everything. I remember first time anyone ever paid me decent money, I was like, it's kind of the same thing. It's like, I can't believe someone will actually pay that kind of money. I remember first time I made over 6 figures for an entire year worth of SEO, and I was just like blown the fuck away. Like, and I told them even at work, I said, I sold the guy on a phone call. I've never met the man. I never even did a video call with the guy. And it was just, it was the first time. So, but even when I was in the States, we ran the agency, or I was freelancing then, it was like most of them paid you $250, $300, $400. It was never, big money until I actually moved over here and did the white label part of it. So,
yeah, well, and I feel like everyone's got to pay their dues. Like everyone wants to skip that part, but every new person I talk to, like, how do I get to $2,500, $5,000 a month? I'm like, you can't just skip the line. Like you gotta suffer like the rest of us.
Suffer like the rest of us. That's one of the questions I get a lot, and it's like they want to know. It's like if you're in my shoes, you're starting out as a freelancer. If I was to give them a 90-day game plan, what would it be to get their first 10 clients or whatever? And then I usually, what I'm saying, do a lot of free work, and they don't want to hear that. It's always, well, of course, I want paid clients from the get-go.
Yeah. Well, and I give the same recommendation, like either super cheap or free. And like, I tell people the best place to go is where there's already demand. Like just go to Upwork or Fiverr, start doing some stuff there. Like take on any client you can get, take on any project.
Funny as you mentioned Craigslist. I remember good old Craigslist days, because that's what I was on all the time.
Yep.
Clients. And then remember when they started, you had to do paid ads. You had to do paid spots and stuff, and they started getting smart about it. But Upwork and where else?
And Fiverr, just because there's already pre-existing demand there, so it's not like it's generated.
They're driving
Yeah.
traffic to them.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's like, and obviously long term, you want to generate your own inbound leads and stuff, but at least initially, like go where there's already people looking for what you are selling. So it's a lot easier to do that. And it's, of course, not glamorous. It's rough. Like when I went through Craigslist, like you said, I just go to the gig section. I'd apply for every single gig I could find. And I would do 25, sometimes 50 a day. Just to, and I'd only land a few, but it was enough, at least in the first, to get started, get initial revenue going. And then from there you can, I started to, eventually I built the infrastructure for just to use SEO to drive leads. And that ended up being my number one source. I just ranked for like St. Louis SEO company and stuff like that. And that was all I needed. So yeah.
Yes. I mean, the same thing. I remember I used to do eBay, selling backlinks on eBay, backlinks.
Oh man, eBay, that's a good one.
All that stuff. It's like we didn't have marketplaces like, Legit or Fiverr or anything like that. We didn't have any of that stuff. So,
Right.
I even tell people like we didn't have, Nathan, we didn't have Chris Palmer, we didn't have any SEOs to learn from on YouTube. And stuff like that. So now you do. I mean, now you can learn pretty much anything and everything you want about local SEO or SEO in general on YouTube, and people like yourself do the coaching or do training, and you can actually apply it before ever getting a client doing it. So
yeah. Well, and I truly believe the best way to learn SEO is to do SEO.
yeah.
Like you wouldn't believe, I mean, it's like there's information is not the problem anymore. Everyone has access to basically the same information at this point. And even before AI, right, there was still an abundance of information. So why do so little people succeed at this?
It's mainly implementation. I remember, I have a mentor, he's in Tony Robbins' inner circle, but I got my life, not my life together, but about a year ago, I did a total 360 because of him. But one of the things he talked about is, the number one problem is most people don't integrate and they don't implement. They'll come in and they'll learn, they'll get a bunch of information, but they never implement. And if you implement and take action, that's different, and I even tell my own team, because I mainly, I don't really teach. I teach our team some SEO, but I mainly teach mindset and business mastery or self-mastery more than anything.
Smart.
And stuff, mainly because that's what's most people's problems revolve around. They have problems in their own, their own patterns and stuff that they don't recognize, that they don't fix, or they ignore. And then a lot of times it's like, he even teach me, he's like, I do SEO the same way as I teach someone how to do something, then I watch how they do it, then I watch them do it, let them watch me do it, and then I pass the ball, and then I'll observe them, make sure they know what the hell they're doing. But a lot of times we just think, especially with teams, because I do a lot of, I've had to train a lot of people, but the thing is like most of the time we teach someone something and we think they understand what we taught them, and most of the time they don't. And they'll sit there and say, especially in Philippine culture, they'll say, "Yes, sir, I understand. Yes, sir." They don't understand shit. And it's just that's just the way they are. Yes. About everything. And it's like, I've learned a lot about, that sort of thing in communication when it comes to teaching and teams and stuff. It's like, we've done it several times. We went up and down, and it's like, sometimes we don't want to do it anymore, but it's like, I tell people, it's like, you can be a freelancer if you want, but if you're a freelancer, for me, it's like, if you're a freelancer, you don't run a business and you're not being a leader, you're pretty selfish. Versus someone, if you build teams and you actually have a business and you actually have teams and you actually helping people, that's a lot different. But it's not made for, not everybody's made to do that.
No,
much harder. So, but yeah, I mean, if there's anything, because I know, like we've talked about, we touched on SEO's changed, especially with AI. Is there anything you believed about SEO 5 years ago that you completely changed your mind about, that's like totally changed? Not the same.
The classic question, right? Like, is AEO or GEO actually different than SEO type of thing? And I mean, this is like the biggest debate in the whole SEO industry right now, right? Is it actually different? And I would argue that there are some things that are different. There's a lot that's the same. I would argue that, like SEO is like that base layer. Like if it's like a pyramid, like SEO is the biggest base and it's the most important part. But there's a lot of other new things that definitely are different. Like a small one that I like to bring up is specifically links and brand mentions. So one thing we found is that, let's say you pull the citations for, let's say, best CRM for small businesses. Okay. And you run that through ChatGPT, Perplexity, and so on and so forth. We've run this test so many times, and like HubSpot is 100% visibility across every platform for best CRMs, 100%. But you go and check their traditional search performance, they rank on like page 3 for best CRMs. So if it's just SEO, like they should, like that should be the connection should be, but it's not there. And so how is it possible that they just dominate across every AI platform? Well, we have actual evidence of this. We go and pull all the citations, and what come to find out, all the citations mention them. Is that simple? Like they have like 80% coverage across all the citations. And the part I want to specifically, it's different than like what we're used to with link building. A lot of those citations or mentions, they're completely unlinked. There's no links. And so once again, like it's a weird time. Like ideally you would get a link and a brand mention. That's the best of both worlds because you influence both systems, right? You can influence traditional systems, you can influence AI systems, but you don't need a link to influence these AI platforms, which is kind of the crazy part. And so we can get more technical if you want to talk more about like, okay, the static corpus, like the actual training data versus retrieval and how those things connect. But to me, that's the big thing is like, what's very different is like clearly we're trying to influence two different things. Like we used to just influence the search engines. That was it. Now we got to think about, is the brand baked into the actual training data, which is typically about 3 to 6 months behind reality because a new model's basically, training cycles are like 6 months typically. Yeah. I think GPT 5.5 was like December of 2025. I mean, it is really old. And so, so they have to layer on the retrieval because otherwise the AI would be completely outdated. So, so you have to try to influence both those systems. And we know on the retrieval side, ranking well in traditional search tends to be the best mechanism for doing that. Yeah. So it's kind of a weird thing. Everything's kind of all blended together now. And like, that's why like, it's not a very appealing term because I don't think you can really sell it. But in my mind, at least, search everywhere optimization to me makes the most sense. Like, because that's really what we're doing, right? Like when I think about it, when I go after a keyword now, it's like, okay, we got to drive visibility for best CRMs for agencies. Okay, let's do something like that. I think about it in terms of categories. So I'm like, okay, that's a category. I want to dominate that category across, Google, Perplexity, YouTube, everywhere that I can. Like I'm truly thinking about it. Even TikTok, like anywhere where there is search going on, I want us to appear for that topic.
Yeah, that's the same thing whenever I do audits with people. I'm like, for example, you have a TikTok and you have a Facebook, you have Instagram, you have LinkedIn, etc., but you don't ever even post on it. Yep. You're not going to be seeing anywhere that has, for me, it's like anywhere very simple. It's like, if it's got a search bar, it's a fucking search engine.
Yes, absolutely.
So you should be posting on it and you should be ranking in it. And the only way to do that is by optimizing for it in search and stuff. So, I mean, it's kind of this, and I use the same term in search everywhere. It's like, I want to be seen everywhere. And people are like, they think SEO is the end all be all. I'm like, for me, you can do SEO, but the biggest difference I've seen is, but even in local, we'll take somebody, they're not doing social media management, they're not posting, they're not doing reels, they're not doing content, and someone else that's just doing, and they're just doing SEO, then the other person is doing all that content plus SEO, and their brand, I can generally get them ranking and moving really, really fucking rapidly and fast compared to someone else that's not doing anything else. And that sort of thing. So even with that, it's almost for us, even with organic, I tell people, well, a lot of SEOs will say, well, the thing is with Google paid ads, you'll always have to pay for them, but with SEO, you'll not have to always pay for it. And I'm telling you, this is a lie. You're going to always be doing SEO. You're always going to be paying for it or doing it yourself. And then the purpose of organic, in my mind, has always been to make money so you can reinvest it in your company. You reinvest it in Google ads, LSA ads, or whatever, but you're going to reinvest it. It's not just you make money and go to the bank, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Well, no, and you can't stop doing it. I mean, that's like you don't turn your business off. You don't turn your marketing off. Like you just have to keep, there's no end to this until you sell your business or you go out of business.
that's probably one of the other questions that I get a lot is like, do I always have to do SEO? It's like, yes, if you, unless everybody else goes out of business in your city and your niche, I guess, I mean, that's the only way I could tell you, yes, you could stop doing SEO. But,
yeah,
you know,
they want to treat a lot. I was going to say a lot of people want to treat it as a project, but it's not a project. It needs to be treated like a division in the business. It's a part of your marketing. Like it's just forever. So,
I mean, it's kind of shocking. I did a video the other day and I was like, how many business owners that are in a certain niches, junk removal being one. There's probably 3 or 4. A lot of it's the like lawn care. It's little things like that, or contractors where it's they create a graphic and they have their phone number, they have a Gmail, but they have no actual business email and they have no website. I'm like, it just blows my mind. As I talk to the guy today, it's like, do you have a website? No. Do you have a Google My Business profile or a Google Business profile? No. I'm like, for me, I'm like, I don't, and yet you say you've been in business for a year. I just can't fathom it. I mean, it's like Google, you know, you can go to GoDaddy and get a 1-page website, or Wix or Weebly or any of this. It's like,
yeah,
you don't have to invest a lot of money like before. I mean, it's like, to me, I can't fathom some of the biggest mistakes business owners make whenever they're first starting out and stuff. But that's just for me talking to people and doing audits and stuff. So if you could give a business owner, you know, an idea, what's some of the mistakes you think that they make when they're first starting out? Besides obviously what we're talking about is not having the website, but what's some of the other mistakes they make when it comes to SEO or local?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't even handle the basics, there's no point of getting into the fun technical stuff quite yet, right? I mean, you gotta at least get a Google Business profile. You gotta at least have a website. Like, let's just start there. You know, that's a good place to start. And then, of course, like I mentioned earlier, getting those kind of like, let's say 2 to 3 core other directories set up. I mean, that gives you a nice little base to work with. But the reality is, like, what I've found is anything that's easy to do is not that valuable. And this is like what people forget about SEO. You see this all the time. You probably see this on X and, you know, other platforms where you have the gurus selling stuff and they'll be like, I'm pumping out millions of pieces of content every single day. It's like, if it was just that easy just to create content, like if content was the only thing that really mattered, then there'd be a lot more people that were successful at SEO, right? And so there's like a lot of little variables. And I think the most important thing, like if you're doing local, I think almost all of your initial time should be spent on how do we drive as many reviews as humanly possible. And you'll see, like, when you look at the really competitive industries like HVAC, there's one company in Chicago, Four Seasons Heating and Cooling. Okay, look them up. They've got like, I think 27,000 Google reviews. Now imagine you're trying to compete in Chicago against them, and you got, like you mentioned, and you mentioned this, you know, the guy who didn't even have a Google Business profile. Like, that's like trying to climb Mount Everest. And that's, and the problem with that is, okay, you're at 0, they're at 27,000. Well, the problem is they're not just going to stop acquiring reviews. So you have to actually outpace them as far as their acquisition. And clearly they've got the systems dialed in to get reviews. So it's not just catching up. It's also, you have to be in a surplus. And so that's why, like, you know, number one thing is, first of all, where you pick to serve is a real serious discussion that you need to have. Like, if you're going to go head to head in some of these metros, good luck, you know, good luck.
The 27,000. So at least I now know, is like, anybody ever calls me from Chicago and Havoc, I'll just immediately say, no, thank you.
Seriously.
Now, how many reviews do you have? Oh, I have 10,000. No, thank you.
Yep. I mean,
it's going to compete.
Yeah. And I mean, I would straight up tell someone if they wanted to compete there, I'd say, listen, you're not going to win in Chicago. So you might as well go pick a separate city and try to win
Yeah,
there because you're just not going to win. Like, it's just a fact. It's literal math.
way ahead of you, you know.
Yeah. And there's certain gaps that just can't be narrowed. Like even
How can you even possibly catch up with that? Even if, I mean, the thing is, okay, let's say they stayed at 27,000 and I had to catch up to 27,000. I'd have to get like, you know, at least remotely 2,000 a month. And then
Yeah.
that's, you know, that's, and they're obviously going to be, they're going to keep getting reviews. So it's like, it's a never ending cycle. So
yeah. Well, and then going back, so the reason I brought that up is just because that's the number one thing to focus on in the beginning is like, do we have a review generation system in place? Like, are our techs asking for reviews on the spot? Like, are we rewarding our employees and our techs for getting reviews? Like, that's very, very important. I don't think there's anything more important for local. And it's not just reviews on Google, but of course the other platforms as well. Because that's like, that is the lead domino. Right. And then you'll see like
niche you're in, if you're in a restaurant, there's all the types of, you know, restaurant platforms and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
That's Google. Because I know like the LLMs are pulling from, not they're not just pulling from Google, they're pulling from everywhere. So
yeah,
I think a lot of people they'll sit there and focus on I just need Google reviews and they forget about Facebook and they forget about Angie's and they forget about every other platform that has them as well. So
yeah, it's a mistake.
Yeah. It's just do good work and get good reviews, and then therefore you're gonna, you know, you can take those reviews and feed them into other platforms as well. So
yeah, and it's not to say that these systems can't be manipulated. Like we run plenty of tests where we can manipulate them, but it is much harder in many ways, especially the more competitive the industries get, the better the systems are because they have more to work with.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you're going to find like in SaaS, for example, you can't really fake your way doing well in SaaS industries because there's G2, there's Capterra, there's so many third-party systems that they can use to confirm that you're legit.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, reviews are everything. And it's not just local, e-com, SaaS, like reviews. It's so important. I can't stress it enough. Yep.
Yeah, one of the tests I did see, it's like you can go into local and ask for, let's say, you know, roofer in Orlando, and it will give someone totally different, top 1, 2, 3, go into ChatGPT or any of the other ones and ask ChatGPT, and it will actually switch it. And a lot of times, if you look at it, it's based on the reviews.
Yep.
It's based on how many reviews and what the quality of the reviews as well, not just how many reviews.
Right.
But yeah, that's one of the things I have seen. So, but listen, I've kept enough of your time. I appreciate it, Nathan. And
yeah, my pleasure.
I'm coming on, and I'd love to have you on again and stuff. But yeah, is there anything that any current projects you're working on, or anything you'd like to tell anybody about, or anything of that nature?
I mean, I just live and breathe rankability, man. That's all. I mean, you know, 12, 14 hours a day on this thing. So it's all I do. It's all I think about. I mean, it's pretty crazy. So we brought everything in-house and we're building it in-house now. And man, it's been a whirlwind the last like 5 to 6 months. It's probably the hardest I've ever worked in my life. But it's fun, man. It's fun. It's tough. It's tough. SaaS is hard. Don't let anyone fool you. SaaS is hard.
Yeah, everybody wants to get in SaaS because they think it's easy money and shit like that. And I remember when I just did some WordPress plugins and I thought I was going to, you know, okay, we can do this phone with subscriptions. I was like, I shut it down within like 2 years. I was like, this is not worth it.
It's brutal, man. It's tough. I mean, I would say like I've done every business model at this point as far as like monetizing SEO. I've done agency, affiliate, training, and now SaaS. They're all hard for different reasons, but SaaS is a different animal altogether. It's really tough. I mean, the one example I like to give people is like an agency, you don't even need a product. You could just wake up one day and say, I offer SEO. Like that's it. That's your product.
And you can literally, with SEO, you can go, I don't even have the team to do the SEO. I just need to sell the SEO.
No, your product is just saying that you do it. Like that's your product. But like when it comes to SaaS, I have to think about 9,000 different use cases, different scenarios, different browsers, like it's like crazy. I mean, I was just telling someone in the last 5 months, we've made, I think we're approaching like 9,000 changes to the software. 9,000 in 5 months.
No thank you.
So, you know, I'm just saying, like, you want to play SaaS, this is what it's like. It's not glamorous.
But
So,
yeah, you love it. So, and you,
yeah.
So that's awesome. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I appreciate it. So Rankability, someone can go and check it out. What's the name of the website? Obviously Rankability, but
Yep. Rankability.com. That's it.
awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Nathan.
Thank